Newsfirst, Newsline with Faraz Shauketaly.
Very good evening to you. This is Newsline Prime, live from the Newsfirst studios in Dawson Street in Colombo. And we're terribly sorry for the late start. Some technical difficulties have been rather challenging this evening. However, let's get straight to the point. This evening we've got with us Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa, MP, JVP, Kaluthra District. Very good evening to you.
Good evening.
I trust this time is better for you.
Yes, of course.
It's good. Only thing is they need to be able to start on time.
Yeah.
Now then, first of all, the JVP recently had a protest. What's that all about?
That is against mainly the economic policy of the government. We have been waited for nearly 3.5 years, and actually we gave the time to the government to fulfill their promises given at the especially the general election. But you see, for last 3 years they didn't do anything. They put a heavy burden to the people, and they introduced various taxes, and they introduced monthly this price formula for the oil, and there are other economic policies selling the national assets to the foreign companies and the countries. So against all these economic issues, we organized a huge protest march from Borale to Peta, and I think this is a expression of the people against the government.
You know, the JVPs had protests, the joint oppositions had protests, and the only thing the UNP haven't had a protest. So, is there any real purpose? What's the purpose of having this?
All these protests are against the government led by the UNP especially. And before that, before this huge protest march, we had several protests by our farmers, trade unions, and student and youth unions, and JO organized several protests. Anyway, that JVP is totally against the economic policy.
But you all supported this good governance movement at the beginning.
We did a campaign against Mahinda Rajapaksa to defeat him, to gain the democracy.
Was it to defeat him, or was it to bring good governance? There's two different items here.
Yes. If you remind the slogan we put at that presidential election, we asked the people, defeat the Rajapaksa regime, and we'll get together and make a more democratic country. And we didn't put any faith over this government or the current president. Anyway, when the President Mahinda Rajapaksa was defeated, somehow anyone has to come to the power. But you see, there were so many promises put forward by especially the UNP government at that time during the general election period. They promised to people that they are going to make a modern country within 60 months, and they are going to get more investments and 1 million jobs.
So it's so modern, it's so modern, this country, it's so modern under their governance that they managed to rob the central bank.
Yes.
They managed to cause
starting from the central bank
8,500 million plus rupees of losses to the EPF, or the cost to the state, right? Then they did the Central Expressway. It's a complete and utter departure from due procedure. And then the importation of coal, right? They actually, in the end, they changed the chairman of the Lanka Coal Company, right? And so on. The list is long.
Yes, and you see the LNG deal revealed in the Supreme Court, and this is totally against the normal tender procedure.
Right.
And now the latest issue on selling of Hyatt and Hilton
That's
hotels.
right. The Hyatt and the Hilton hotels. Now, the newspaper advertisement that ran in the local press said that they were closing the expressions of interest. The deadline was the 31st of October. They only gave it 13 days, 13 calendar days, but when you took away the holidays and the weekend, then it only came to 10 days. Now we are told, I have it on record from an interested party who's approached them to send them the documentation, and they wrote to MTI, the consultants listed as being in Sri Lanka, and the response came from the other company based in Singapore and said that they need to send in the expressions of interest by the 17th of February, November 17th of November by 5 p.m. Singapore time.
You see that the Hyatt hotels as well, the Hilton and the Lanka hospitals and other some of the government institutions, they listed out in 2015 November budget.
Yes.
So that was 3 years.
Yeah.
But they didn't speed up the process. But suddenly it came out as very quick procedure.
It sounds, it almost, because we can smell things, right? Now it smells like they've already decided who the buyer is going to be, and they're just going through the process. It's like another matter about the BOI and the concessions that were granted to rigid tires. The finance minister at that time, Ravi Karunanayake, refused to give them these various concessions that the minister, Malik Samaravikrama, was asking. But then Mr. Samaravikrama is known to have been in and out of a company, or the board of directors of a company in which Nandana Lokavitana and connected companies are shareholders. So there seems to be some kind of link between them and Malik Samaravikrama. Now that is the same conflict of interest that happened with the central bank. For heaven's sake, how many times are we to say this thing?
I think Minister Malik Samaravikrama is not a member of the director board of Rigid Tire.
No, he's not a member of Rigid Tire. But he's been in. All I say is that there is another company that's connected to Nandana Lokavitana, and Malik Samaravikrama has been in and out of that board. I'm not saying that that's wrong. It may well be right. But all I'm saying is that there has been some form of contact between the two, and it is simply not right for the minister. He's got a deputy minister. He can say, look, I want to stay out of this thing. Deputy minister, you sort it out. Why didn't he do that?
And giving approval and giving permission from the BOI that the minister's part is over. I mean, he's the minister of international trade.
The cabinet of ministers said $75 million. They approved all these, the giving of the land and everything, all approved. But they did say $75 million. The BOI then entered into an agreement with this company and allowed them to bring that part of the 75 million can be in terms of plant and equipment. They don't say anything about, there's nothing, it's presumed that it's $75 million in cash. That doesn't come. The BOI says to them in the agreement that they can bring in plant and equipment 50, I think it's 56 or 57 million dollars. Now then, they also say that if it's not new, i.e. old equipment, they must have a letter from a consultant. And if that letter is not there, then they will have to pay a penalty in the form of duties. But Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa, guess what? There are no duties on the equipment.
Yes, the fact is they all discussed in that cabinet subcommittee.
Yes.
Including Mr. Malik Samaravikrama. Yes.
Yes.
And they acknowledged to the cabinet.
Yes.
That I think the cabinet didn't inquire not much in detail.
Yeah.
And just they approved, because at that time the CCM was the was powerful.
Yes, thanks to the president, that's now been done away with, but still. But Nalinda, when is it going to all finish? When is this blatant corruption, conflict of interest, departure from due process, when is it going to finish? And how can they get ready to sell the Hilton? The public want to know, what about the shareholders of the Hilton? If you remember, it was taken over by the government in the previous administration. What about the shareholders who had invested genuinely, bona fide invested monies? We know that there are other shareholders. There is the founder shareholder.
And we want to know what are the reasons that they are going, I mean, why we can't develop such projects. Yes, because now the government is always telling that the number of tourists are coming, the tourism industry is going on. Then why we can't improve the facilities of these hotels and actually did the government value these projects, the hired building and land? Yes, I don't think that government value involved that. No.
Now then, you know, there is some talk. Nanda in Parliament says that the government is expecting $200 million out of the sale of 2 hotels. One is an operational hotel, which is the Hilton. The other is the so-called Hyatt project. Now, you know, the replacement value of the Hilton Colombo Hotel is at least $300 million. They cannot possibly sell it for less. If they do, they are cutting a deal with somebody. And who is this somebody?
Sir, we have to ask who is behind that. I mean, what's the reason to quicken that the selling process?
That's right, because you know, in English we have a saying. We say that gentlemen are never in a hurry. So why this indecent hurry? What's the problem? As it is, we've got very little dollars, so we must try and maximize these things.
If government thinks that they are going to replenish the dollar reserve, but they can value more these 2 assets, at least as you said that the Hilton Hotel itself, I think maybe we can value it more than 300
easily, because you know, guess what, and this is the bit that they're not telling us. Along with the Hilton Colombo Hotel is across the road where the swimming pool is, 2.5 acres ripe for development. Ripe for development. There is a lack of office space in this country, in Colombo. Why can't the government could have developed that? They could have done so many things. Why this indecent hurry to sell it? Who is in charge of this project? Who is the deal already done? There is talk that there is a Singaporean hotelier who is supposedly very well connected with our minister.
Yes, and see that we saw that hurry when they signed the Singapore agreement.
That's right, the
FTA. Yes. Yeah. Before taking the approval of the cabinet.
That's right.
They signed the
and Minister Malik Samaravikrama says, go to court.
Yes.
Yeah, he knows how long that's going to take. Lasantha Vikramatunga died in 2009. 9 years later, we're still waiting for a resolution to that. You know, so it's very easy for Malik Samaravikrama to say that. This is not, you know, Dr.Nalinda Jayatissa, I want to say this to you. Malik Samaravikrama does not have a mandate from the people.
Yes.
He has not been elected, but he has been selected
by
his friend
yes,
of many years, Ranil Wickramasinghe. I mean, it's okay, you want to encourage somebody to come into politics, but you can keep him on the side and learn, you know. But here he's been given an important role, Minister in charge of international trade, so where on earth is the FDI? Why is he not delivering?
But you know, he's a state minister. He's an elected member.
That's right. That's right. And he could have easily told his state minister to do this because, you know, I've had dealings with this guy and I want to stay out of it.
But he didn't involve such agreements and the process.
And if we mustn't forget that in February 2015, when Malik Samaravikrama had no role, neither was he on the national list, he was nothing other than the head of the party.
And he was a consultant of the Prime Minister.
Well, so he says, I mean, it's so easy
Yes.
to do that. Anyone can say that, can't they? Anybody can say that, right? But he sat there at the central bank and what was he doing? So if he's the party leader and he's there, why wasn't Rauf Hakim there? And why wasn't your party leader there? Everybody should have been there. This is a national government after all, isn't it? Why do you think they left you all out of that meeting?
Because I mean, other ministers or the MPs, they didn't do the same what the Prime Minister need. What the Prime Minister need fulfilled by his close colleagues, the Bhaskar Lingam, Malik Samaravikrama and others. So
this Hilton and Hyatt project is a problem because of the short time frame, the questions being raised now. Why is it so short? Is it the well-known hotelier in Singapore who's behind this whole transaction? Has the minister and others got some deal going? I don't know. These are the questions that we are asked in the coffee shops of Colombo.
Yes, and definitely we will take it to the COP inquiry.
Right.
And like bond issue,
yeah,
we will inquire in deep, but you see that the COP has very limited provisions.
Yes.
Taking action against that persons and institutions.
Yeah.
Anyway, by COP investigation, we can reveal the truth, at least. So,
there's some hope.
Yes.
All right. Well, you know, what about this budget? Now, the JVP has already announced, isn't it, that you all are going to oppose the budget, but you haven't seen the budget. Why are you going to oppose something when you haven't seen it?
Yes, but I think we don't want to see the budget because it's based on the principles of the UNP government.
Right.
So we saw last 4 budgets made by the UNP finance ministers.
Yeah.
And this is the continuation of last 4 decades.
Yeah.
So as principle, we totally against that the economic policy maintained by this government as well as the former government.
Yeah.
So because before the budget, they put all the taxes and they agreed to sell national assets. So we can't expect nothing much more from the budget. So that's why, as a policy, economic policy, we will against the budget, and we hope to use this opportunity in the 26 days of the budget period to reveal the corruptions and wastage of the relevant ministries, as well to raise the voice of the people and the issues relevant to the ministries.
Now then, as you know, we invite people to send us SMSs and so that we can get questions live here.
Okay.
And I've got a couple of questions I'd like to read out. As a citizen of this country, I would like to know how the impact of protest can be judged, as I'm lost in understanding the degree of impact. Already asked you that one. Why can't we organize Gandhian type of protests that bring results?
Yes, we can. We are organizing different types of protests. Some with very loud voice, as well some protest were silence. Anyway, we are going to raise the voice against the government, that we represent the voice of the people, that against that burden as well as the selling of the national assets. Anyway, we don't expect that the government will listen to the voice of the people and they will totally change their policy. Anyway,
are you going to organize a protest to stop the sale of the Hilton?
Not the particular issues, but for the total economic policy.
Yes, but they might rush the sale through because it looks like they've already got a select partner. There's several messages coming to us on that one. What somebody says the real value must be at least 350 million. I said 300 million plus.
That is only one, I mean.
That's just the Hilton,
yeah.
Right? And somebody else is saying that the 2.5 acres in the pool area is worth around $150 million on its own. And there's another one saying that isn't this the same people, is the buyer the same people who bought this hotel in down Welligama Way? I don't know, right? And another one down Tangol Way. There's one person who's supposed to, or one person's company anyway. And also the same person who offered to buy an old hotel with a lot of history in Colombo itself. Is that the same person? The questions are going on and on and on. Another one more, the last one, it says that the Hyatt project is worth at least 50 million to 75 million on its own, because it's just a building.
You see, the initial, within the initial construction of Hyatt project, there was a corruption.
Yes.
Again, when they are selling the project, again the corruption.
So it's a double whammy.
Double, yes.
Both sides.
Like what happens to Sri Lanka Airline.
Yes. They order the goods, they make their money. They cancel it, they make their money. And the public are forever and a day, you know, they're being asked to tighten their belts. Why should the public be asked to tighten the belts when these politicians you know, I just really want to ask this question. Dr.Nalinda, please tell me, when is corruption going to stop? It's obscene. It's over 3 years and nearly 4 years.
Been electing those people, I mean the current ruling party as well as the former ones, we couldn't expect any stop of the corruption. So we have to make an alternate power, especially with the people who really love the country, who really need to promote the country for the economic development as well as the national interest. So that depends on the people. I mean,
your party is always going on about the people, and that you represent the people closest. That's what your claim is, right? In that case, can you tell me, who is the JVP, your allegiance? Who are you going to give it to at the next, let's say, presidential and parliamentary elections? Who are you going to back?
We will not back anyone. I mean, now backing anyone, we can't expect anything.
Will you back Mahinda Rajapaksa's
No, we won't back Mahinda, Ranil, current President Maithripala Sirisena. We are going to form an alternate people's power. Let's make a very alternate and modern way.
Yeah.
Let's try once. So it's very much different, but we have to make our own way to develop the country and to stop these corruptions.
And do you think that we will be able to come up with a solution?
Yes, if the people really supports that movement, then we can make a power and we can go ahead. At least we'll see for 5 years. We'll do very planned, I mean, we'll implement a planned economy.
Is Ranil Wickremesinghe's political career finished along with this parliament?
I don't think.
What about Malik Samaraweera? Do you think the people are going to tolerate this?
But whenever...
Already, I'm sorry, but the bond, the parliament hasn't even debated this blessed thing. So it's obvious that they're going to get away.
Always we raise that voice to have the chance to debate it, but they put some technical reasons.
Dusra. They put a dusra.
Yeah, dusra.
Yes. Cricket terms, dusra. Yes. Even the cricket board, even there's corruption there.
Everywhere.
Everywhere. So corruption is everywhere. And the people, they have to tighten their belts. Is that fair? Do you think that's a fair thing?
No, not fair. Because they steal the money of the taxpayers. That's a problem. All money belongs to the taxpayers.
They steal the money of the taxpayers.
Yeah.
I hope that they are not going to get away with another scam and turn the Hilton into a scam. That project's been full of scams anyway. And the public have spent an awful lot of money there. And hopefully you'll keep an eye on this and have enough protests to stop them in their tracks.
We will raise our voice in the parliament as well. As I said, we will inquire in the co-op committee. We'll see. But the process is so fast.
Yes, it's very unusual. It's very unusual, and we are therefore alarmed. We are very alarmed. And just as we wind up, thank you very much, Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa, for being on Newsline Prime. And of course, Newsline Prime is sad to say and to comment on the death of Jamal Khashoggi, who lost his life in the pursuit of accountability and a better society for his native Saudi Arabia. And it's shocking as the details emerge more and more. They're getting grislier by the moment. Still, the world stands with Jamal Khashoggi and what he stood for. And Nalinda Jayatissa, thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's the way it was, folks, on Newsline Prime. Take care and good night and God bless.
News First, Newsline with Faraz Shauketaly.